Hi everyone, welcome to DrivingLessonsCork.ie. This morning we're going to do a video on learning to drive frequently asked questions. I get asked a lot of questions about different topics from time to time, so I'm just doing a quick short video here now on some of the most popular questions. For example, regarding the E to T driving lessons, I get often asked, can I take more than one driving lesson, E to T lesson at the same time? And the answer is you can, depending on certain things. If you're a beginner driver who's never driven before, it's really not advised because you don't want to rush through your lessons. You just won't learn very much. So you're better off to do a lesson every now and again, and ideally then do some practice between the lessons. Whereas if you're a driver who's come from another state and you already have a full driving license from another state and you just want to go through the 12 hours EDT lessons here to learn some new little basic things about maybe how we drive in the left and such things like that. So every case is dealt with on a case-by-case basis in that regard. Secondly, how long does it take to learn? Now, typically, again, somebody who has never driven before would be asking this question, and the answer is it takes the length of time it takes to learn is the length of time it takes you to learn. Okay, there's a set syllabus for the EDT lessons. If you learn it sooner rather than later, then all the better for you. But some people take a bit longer to learn than other people. So there's no set time in learning how to drive. As a matter of fact, people are always learning. I'm a driving instructor now for over 16 years. I'm still learning. Every day we learn something new. Whether it be driving or not, we all learn something new every day. So we're all learning as we go along. How long does it take to get a driving test done? Well, currently, folks, as you can see here from the Road Safety Authority Learner Drivers page, there's a list of waiting times here for the various different driving test centres around the country. So they have, up here, they have average waiting times in weeks. Now, that's the average waiting times. To be honest, lads, I'd take that figure with a grain of salt. The longest waiting time in weeks for car tests is here, this column here, and I'd be more inclined to go with that column than the other column, to be quite honest about it myself, in my opinion. Now you can get a quick test too if you ask them for a cancellation test, but you'd really want to be ready for the test then. And you'd be ringing them 2 or 3 times a week to see could you get a driving test in a hurry. Of course, if you're only a relatively new driver and you have to wait 6 months before you can be accepted for a driving test. However, you're better off to apply straight away when you get your first learner permit for the driving test, because, for example, currently in Cork now here, this figure here, it's taking about 23 weeks to get a driving test. So if you apply when you get your learner permit or shortly after that, then you'll have your time starts ticking straight away into that 23 weeks. Another question I might be asked is, do you hire a car out for the driving test? The answer to that question is simply yes, we do. Again, though, it's under certain terms and conditions. A person has to be able to drive the car to a certain standard for the driving test. We're not going to put anyone out in the car if we think they're not safe. Simple as. What questions do you get asked in the driving test? Well, again, if you go on here to my website here, DrivingLessonsCork.ie, and if you click on driving test advice, just loading up there now, folks. Here we are. This page here gives you advice on the driving test, various different general things about the driving test, You've in-car checks there, an example of them, and an example of under-bonnet checks there carried out. You'll have to know all these things for your driving test. And if you scroll down to the bottom of the page and you click on this here, driving test questions and answers, you get a sample of the type of driving question you'll be asked in the day of your test. Here, this is taken from the Road Safety Authority's book. You get asked 18 questions, including 10 sign questions that have to be asked. Obligatory subjects for all categories include pedestrian crossings, traffic lights, headlights dipping, road markings, right-of-way and road signs. And further questions on additional topics on the rules of the road may be asked. That's taken from the Road Safety Authority's book called Standard Procedures for Conducting the Driving Test. Okay? Now, and then here's a sample of the type of question you'll be asked. Basic questions, a lot of them, lads, but there's a couple of tricky questions there, alright. So that's an example of the type of question you'll be asked. Hopefully that'll be of assistance to you for your driving test. Now, how long do learner permits last for? Well, if you want to know the answer to that, you have to check your learner permit. Just show you here. Now, just waiting for the page to load. There we are. Now, I'll just zoom into that now, lads. On your learner permit here, the green card here, it tells you around this area here what date your learner permit was issued and what date it's due to renew on. Generally, learner permits last for 2 years. If you're in your first learner permit, you get a learner permit for 2 years, and at the end of that, you'll automatically be entitled to apply for a learner permit for another 2 years. If you've held a learner permit for up to 4 years, then they won't give you a third learner permit until they see that you've actually applied for the driving test. Then you get another learner permit for another year. You can repeat that process to get a learner permit for 1 year every year then from there on. Once you've sat a driving test for one time. Okay, hopefully though, if you've sat the driving test, you'll have passed the test and you won't need a learner permit anymore. No. Okay. Then if I fail my driving test, do I need to redo the essential driver training lessons? Folks, the simple answer to that is no. You don't need to repeat the EDT driving lessons once you've been done once, unless you did them and you never proceeded on with your learner permit to go and pass the driving test, and let's say your learner permit expired for over 5 years, then you'd have to redo everything again. You'd have to redo the theory test, redo the getting your first learner permit again, and then you'd have to redo the essential driver training lessons. So folks, you're going to have to, get cracking on your learner permit. Don't let it expire for more than 5 years. Get going. Keep an eye on it, lads. Time flies when you're having fun, so don't let the learner permits go out of date. You're only bringing a little bit of trouble in yourself otherwise. So there we are, folks. Hope you liked that video. If you liked the video, please do click on the like button below, and we'd love to have you subscribe to our community here on our channel. Thanks very much for watching. Hopefully that video, as I said, will be of some value or some benefit to you. So until next time, folks, cheers for now. Thank you. Bye-bye.